This is the final straw for Kawaki. And to me, all of the L's that Kawaki has taken so far in Boruto to Blue Vortex, this definitely has to be the worst one. Not only did he just wake up from getting beaten by Jira, but after waking up, he gets put back on the floor by Boruto himself. And Boruto even goes so far to question what type of training Kawaki did during the time skip for him to be so weak. So, what went wrong for Kawaki in the time skip? Because prior to the time skip, he was an absolute menace. He was going crazy and he was carrying the show at times. But in the time skip, things clearly haven't continued down that path, and Kawaki seems to no longer be the menace he was prior to the time skip. So why is Boruto's time skip transformation so much better than the one Kawaki had? And for us to answer this question and understand exactly why Kawaki is this weak, we have to dive deep into Boruto's situation with omnipotence and how it actually led to Boruto having to grind and put that work in for him to become so strong. As Boruto in the time skip is not depending on the karma or Momoshiki's powers like Kawaki has done all throughout the time skip. No, Boruto is relying on his own inner strength, his own powers. Obviously, him being an Otsutsuki has played a part in him being so strong, but Boruto doesn't continue relying on those genetics, but he relies on himself. And this is due to multiple reasons why Boruto has become so strong. He had to run away from the village in order to survive. After everything happened with omnipotence, Boruto basically got a bounty placed on his head. He was pursued by shinobi from all the great 5 nations and was looked as a traitor, somebody who bit the hand that fed him and decided to leave as an ungrateful person. Sasuke also left with him, and he had the danger of Code and Kawaki, who were all trying to kill him due to omnipotence for Code and due to him being an Otsutsuki for Kawaki. Boruto was already facing multiple threats just by leaving the village. And it didn't stop there, because he actually ended up meeting that one person, which was Code, who was trying to kill him, and he had to fight alongside Sasuke to defeat Code and his Clawgrams. During that fight, he lost his master, and he is now trying to bring back his master, who has been turned into a Shinshu, a divine tree. All of this on top of the fact that Momoshiki is waiting for Boruto to despair so that he can take over and live Boruto's life for him, basically destroying the planet, has led to Boruto being this character that he is right now. Boruto has developed a strong resolve as he is basically the final hope of the planet. This was literally stated by Kashin Koji. If Boruto dies or gets eaten, it is over, and it is the same thing for Kawaki. However, Kawaki doesn't have those other threats like Momoshiki and everybody in the village that just hates Boruto. Kawaki didn't have to face that. So Boruto is the hope of the planet. Boruto is the one who is carrying on the legacy of Naruto Uzumaki. Everybody believed that Naruto is dead, while Boruto was the only one who knew that. Boruto's survival is one that had to happen. That's why Sasuke gave up his life for Boruto to be able to escape, because Boruto holds the key to potentially being able to save the planets from all the threats that are starting to appear. This is why Boruto cannot afford not to train. He has to reach his goals because nobody else will. He saw Sasuke get packed up and he was left alone. We know that Kashin Koji and maybe even Orochimaru was the people who took over after Sasuke left, which would now mean that Boruto was taught not only by Sasuke, Kashin Koji, but also Orochimaru. And we literally learned from Sasuke himself that he literally taught Boruto everything that he knew. And we know that Sasuke has an extensive portfolio of abilities that he possesses. Boruto will probably not be able to utilize all of Sasuke's abilities that include things like clan-specific abilities that require a specific genetic trait or various Kekkei Genkai. Boruto probably doesn't have access to those abilities. However, abilities that don't require this and don't fall in this category, Boruto would have access to that, which means that Boruto's current arsenal is one that is super impressive, not only because he was trained by arguably one of the best masters right right now and one of the best people to be a mentor due to Sasuke being quite strong, but he was also trained by Kashin Koji, a cyborg who had experience with Amato and various other people. So all the various intels that Kashin Koji had, Boruto was also made aware of. But Boruto may also have been trained and influenced by Orochimaru. I won't dive deep into this because we don't have the absolute proof of this being the case, but if Boruto was trained by Orochimaru too, it would mean that Boruto is just another beast. We saw what Orochimaru did to Sasuke. He turned Sasuke from somebody who was struggling to beat Naruto to Sasuke being a person who is able to get rid of Team 7 by himself, and if it wasn't for Orochimaru, they would all be dead. This is the person who could have trained Boruto alongside Kashin Koji and Sasuke. And it would also mean that Boruto has mastered all the different elements that are available for shinobi to master. Boruto truly is a powerhouse, and we have seen this chapter after chapter. Boruto's strength is unparalleled by all of his comrades and peers, and this was due to the combinations of everything mentioned: Boruto being an Otsutsuki, Boruto having the resolve necessary due to everything that is going on, Boruto not relying on Momoshiki's karma, because if he uses the karma too much, Momoshiki can take over due to everything that we saw happen in chapter 75 and 78, when in chapter 75 Momoshiki was able to have a conversation with Boruto in their head, and in chapter 78 we have Momoshiki who takes over Boruto's body and frees Kawaki, leading to omnipotence taking place. And in chapter 79, we have a Momoshiki who is begging Boruto to let him take over while he is seeing Boruto have to fight some of his old friends. The combination of all these various factors has pushed Boruto to become as strong as he is right now, as he possesses a resolve that is as strong as Sasuke's ambition, and we know the lengths in which Sasuke took to gain this power, and Boruto seems to have that same resolve, now going down a sinister path as Sasuke, but he has that same resolve and passion for his goals. And this can't really be said for Kawaki, as although Kawaki has that same passion for his resolve, which is to get rid of all Otsutsukis so that Naruto could be freed and stay alive without any threat of somebody coming to get rid of Naruto, he does have that ambition. However, his works throughout the timeskip really don't show that this ambition that Kawaki has been the main front point of his timeskip actions, because Kawaki is a person who seems to have won through omnipotence. He received a level of security. Everybody in the village trusts me, and I can stay in the village without having to worry about me getting killed, because Kawaki was on the run. People were actually gonna get rid of Kawaki for what he had done to Naruto Uzumaki. So if omnipotence never happened, Kawaki would have two choices. Either I run away from the village like Boruto did, or I bring Naruto back and we can call it a day. But we all know Kawaki would have not taken that option. But due to omnipotence, he received that level of security that his place in the village was not going to be tampered with. Boruto and Cold were no longer an immediate problem. Obviously, they were influenced by Otsutsukis, thus Kawaki would want to kill all of them, but they did not pose any threat to Kawaki's immediate safety. If Cold popped into the village, Damon could easily pack him up, and Boruto, everybody would turn on Boruto, and he knows that Boruto would not do anything to harm the village. So he had that level of security and ease all throughout the timeskip. And the main reason why I believe Kawaki didn't become so strong in the timeskip, at least on Boruto's level, is his training philosophy. Kawaki doesn't believe in training in the exact same way that Boruto does. This is especially highlighted in chapter 54, where instead of training his chakra control and continuing to improve that, Kawaki simply wanted to fight. And to him, training is simply fighting to the death, just like he used to do with Jigen. Jigen obviously would never kill him, but he would get quite close, as we could literally see Jigen hitting Kawaki with various rods, and his injuries weren't anything to play with. Kawaki has developed that sense of training, but that sense of training doesn't actually train you on how to utilize your chakra, how to develop your various arsenals. It just trains you to survive, and survive is what Kawaki did all throughout his time with Jigen. The only power that Kawaki needed, and the only power that Jigen wanted Kawaki to use, was the power that was associated with the karma. Kawaki literally had no idea that chakra was a thing, and Naruto had to teach him about chakra. But just like Kawaki abandoned that shinobi way of thinking, Kawaki has also abandoned that shinobi way of training, and thus doesn't seem like he has mastered how to use his chakra, doesn't seem like he has mastered how to use other ninjutsu that do not come from the karma or abilities that he has mastered in the past. No, he has forsaken the shinobi training philosophy and continues to follow what he has been brought through, and thus he is not as strong as he really could be, as he lacks the fundamentals that Boruto has developed and fully mastered. But another reason why Kawaki is so weak is because he really lacks this mentor. Kawaki doesn't have a mentor. We have in Naruto had that mentor in Jiraiya, and Sasuke has his mentor in Orochimaru. Although we know what Sasuke did to Orochimaru, Orochimaru was still his mentor for a good portion of the series. However, Kawaki doesn't have that. Boruto has it. Boruto has Sasuke, Kashin Koji, and potentially even Orochimaru, but Kawaki doesn't. And maybe they're going to introduce a plot point where Kawaki's trainer was actually Kakashi, because Kakashi has to come back in some sort of way. But for the moment, who really changed Kawaki? Who was the mentor for Kawaki to actually grow in strength? That person was supposed to be Naruto, but he sealed Naruto away. And we know Kawaki's personality. When people try to help Kawaki, he wants to do it by himself. He doesn't like asking other people for help or have people help him in any way. He doesn't even like when Mitsuki is around him. This sort of temper has led to a Kawaki who lacks a mentor, and thus he hasn't really grown that strong, as he has not been mentored by anybody and guided towards the right path of gaining power. He just didn't have that mentor figure that would push him to keep growing stronger. But we all know what is going to happen. Just like with Sasuke and Naruto, just because Sasuke was able to beat Naruto on such an astronomical level when Sasuke fought Team 7, it doesn't mean that he is going to stay around that tier of power. Boruto got the Sasuke treatment, while Kawaki got the Naruto time skip treatment. But we all know exactly what ends up happening with Naruto. Naruto, after getting humiliated by Sasuke, actually starts training and is mentored by people like Kakashi, and he masters various sorts of ninjutsu, creating his own with the Rasen Shuriken. We could potentially see something similar, but instead of Kawaki gaining his power through the shinobi way of training, Kawaki would get his power through Amado. And it could either happen in this arc as a climax, just like what happened in the Code arc, where as a climax for the arc, Momoshiki and Kawaki with his karma regained end up fighting. So maybe it could be the same, where somehow Kawaki runs to Amado and gets that upgrade and then goes to fight Jiraiya again. Maybe that's the case, or it happens at the end of the arc. I don't really know. But with the chapter that has just released, I really wanted to hear some of your thoughts on the chapter. So let's see some of your reactions following chapter 9. So Nell says, I believe a few things will happen. Momoshiki comes back, we get another flashback. I think that Boruto turned into Momoshiki right after Sasuke attacked Code and the Clawgrams, and we may find out how he bumped into Kashin Koji, and Sarada runs into Hidari. Edit, I got one more theory. What if Boruto also holds Kinshiki as a vessel, because Momoshiki did absorb him and was enhanced by it? So this is a very good comment, and there's a few things that I definitely agree with and that we have to discuss. Momoshiki coming back is something that is inevitable, and I can't wait for Momoshiki to ruin all of the hard work that Boruto has done when it comes to his reputation in the village and when it comes to dealing with the Shinshu. I am really interested, how will Momoshiki react to the abominations that the Shinshu are, as the Ten Tails was never supposed to evolve, so that's going to be very interesting. But something else that he does mention, and that I completely agree with, is the fact that during the time skip, Boruto most likely turned into Momoshiki. Momoshiki must have taken control of Boruto during that time, because Boruto no longer uses the karma after the time skip. Before the time skip, even after their minds were merging, Boruto continues to use the karma, as we saw in chapter 78. But in the time skip, it seems like he doesn't do it, as he doesn't use his karma when he fights versus Code. Just like this comment seems to suggest, I believe that Boruto probably during training, just like Naruto did with Jiraiya back in the days. Boruto must have lost control and injured Sasuke, leading to Boruto not wanting to use the karma ever again. And something else that he does mention that I want to point out is the fact that Boruto may potentially hold Kinshiki as his vessel. I personally believe that this is already the case, and all of the information that we have received confirms it. Boruto got his karma after Momoshiki took control of Kinshiki's DNA. Regardless of the fact that Momoshiki looks more like his base self, it was simply a transformation. So I believe that Boruto holds Kinshiki also as a vessel, especially due to the fact that Momoshiki, while controlling Boruto's body, is very good at taijutsu. But Momoshiki, before he ate Kinshiki, Momoshiki's taijutsu was really bad, as he was described as a prince who wouldn't really train, and that's why Momoshiki is mostly known for spamming ninjutsu instead of using taijutsu. So I definitely believe that the Momoshiki that is inside of Boruto possesses Kinshiki's battle experience alongside his own. The next comment is by Ruka, and he says Jira got nerfed so bad, he can literally destroy Konoha by spamming Bijudama. This is the case. If Jira wanted, he could easily destroy Konoha. He could easily destroy the planet. But as we have currently seen with Jira, Jira didn't even want to hurt Team 10. He just wanted Himawari. And when he was fighting versus Kawaki near the library, he was literally telling Kawaki to watch out as they don't want to destroy this treasure. So Jira doesn't want to destroy the village. He just wants to devour Himawari and get some of his questions answered. So that's why you may feel like he's nerfed. He is simply holding back because he is fighting weaker opponents and doesn't want to destroy the village that contains books and information that he wants to learn about. The next comment is by Sonic Network. I think that Himawari is either going to pull Aang from Avatar and let herself be kidnapped to then escape, or she is going to fight head on. This is a good theory, and I do agree. Himawari is leaning towards the fact that she is going to have to either let herself be kidnapped by Jira so that Team 10 can run away, or she's going to have to fight Jira herself. And whatever is the case, I do believe that Team 10 will be safe because they have to fight versus Matsuri. There's really going to be that moment when they fight Matsuri, who is the clone of Moegi. So I do believe that they will be alive, but I really wonder if they will be able to let Himawari off. I doubt they'll be able to do something like that. So I think that Himawari, out of her own will, she's just going to force herself to go and fight them in some sort of way. The next comment is by User, and this is what he says. How will Hidari respond to Sarada running into battle? Will he focus on Jira's goal or his own? We will witness Sasuke's consciousness. This is a very interesting comment and question, because in my opinion, it seems like they're currently delaying it because Sarada and Sumire still haven't met up with Jira, Hidari, Team 10, and Himawari, so they're definitely delaying it. But the one thing I can see, and before they end up leaving, is that Sarada will meet Hidari. They will have some sort of contact where they lock eyes, but I'm not sure if they will fight, as the main goal for the current moment was to locate Naruto Uzumaki. Now that they see that the power that they were sensing was coming from Himawari, their main goal is simply Himawari and not Hidari's goal at the current moment. But we'll end up seeing what takes place. The next comment is by Stefan, and he says that the best case scenario for Konoha is that Boruto finds Hime and teleports her away, and that Sarada doesn't run into Hidari. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a body bag on top of a body bag. This is true. If Boruto doesn't find a way to Hime, I really don't know what is going to happen. The one thing I do think is going to happen is that we're going to leave the village. The main thing that is happening right now after Jira dropped that bomb is that if they stay in the village much longer, the village is going to get destroyed. The village is a lot bigger than it used to be. We can see that it ranges even on top of the Hokage monuments, but even though it is a lot bigger, the power that Jira, Hidari, and the Shinsu have in general could destroy the village at any time. So just like Himawari is suggesting, they will run away to a different location so that the village doesn't get harmed. Hopefully that location isn't the Konoha forest that we have been seeing time after time. either a different dimension or somewhere completely different, but it is going to be quite interesting to see what does end up happening, because the best case scenario really can happen as we are currently seeing. Boruto is dealing with his karma and has gone back to his base because of Momoshiki. So Boruto is not in the village anymore, and the only person who could really protect Himawari would be Damien. So what we should be praying for is that Damien decides to help out Himawari and fight Jura. And that would be crazy. Damien versus Jura does have to happen. It would be a crazy fight. But the one thing I do know is that Kawaki's power up is coming. And if you want to know exactly what that may be, you have to watch this video right here.